Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of the Fusion Dance Podcast. I'm Trang,
And I'm Kaylin.
and today we're going to talk about our weekender event that we just came from up in Oakland, Northern California. It's a fusion. Interesting. It was called ThrowDown, and it had a fusion competition, and that was really interesting. And also, um, dance socials and classes, etc. So, first I want to start off with Kaylin. What came up for you overall vibes? What
Mhm.
you like summed up this weekend for you personally?
Yeah, yeah. For me personally, I think it felt like I got the opportunity to tap into another level of fusion that I've been looking for and I haven't experienced in fusion in years. Like I felt both open to exploring and inspired to continue to dive deeper. It's like I see the vision. Like I saw, what the forward looks like, you know. So yeah, what about yourself?
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk the last topic today. We're going to go through topic bullet points here, but the last thing we're going to talk about, because you have to stay tuned to the end, is how the competition went down.
Oh,
That
that's
was
right.
very
Yeah,
interesting,
yeah,
very interesting. So stay tuned. That's right. You have to listen to the end. Okay. So I think for me, after this weekend, when I got back to the hotel, I felt reinvigorated in dance again. I think I needed a time to miss LA. I needed a time to miss people and dance. And even right now, I'm technically traveling to see some family and friends back home. So I think I need time to miss dance again overall. It's the same thing for me when it comes to travel. I feel like you feel uninspired. And when you feel uninspired for such a long time, you get burnt out and you don't enjoy it anymore. It's not awful. It's not toxic. It's just more of like, I feel like I've had the same meal for the past like couple of months, for the past year. And you're like, I need something different. But at the same time, the flip side, it made me miss people in LA because how do I say this? There's always a small handful of maybe politics, maybe tea, maybe drama. I wouldn't say that's too much that I've been dealing with, but also like managing personalities, etc.
yeah,
Especially as an organizer. But then part of me was like, oh man, I wish these LA people were here so they can experience what I'm experiencing, feeling inspired. Even we had like
yeah,
a small handful of LA people coming up, but afterwards they share their experiences, and I was like, yes, this is why people need to travel, this to see more, and not just even travel for dance. I feel like just traveling the world in general, but I'm biased. Um, and it was also extra special and nice seeing people up in Los Angeles, people up in NorCal. Even though we
yeah.
know somewhere we're gonna go, but I don't, it just had a different feeling like, oh, we're in this together, or like,
Like we're
oh,
all here. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, we're all
exactly.
here.
You're
Yeah,
traveling, just like experiencing the world just along with me, So it was very, and also you always end up getting bonding more with LA people just because it's another deep experience to, where you're in the trenches together. Not that this is like in the trenches, but when you're in the trenches together and stuff like that, dealing with things, it feels different. Yeah. Um, anyways, also another thing that was mentioned from an organizer was how with this event, obviously they're going to do things a bit differently, just like how we at FU do, Fusion University do things a bit differently. And it was nice hearing the fact that um, they also got a lot of opinions, a lot about what they were doing. They got a lot of feedback, pushback on these new things they were trying to do. And I remember telling one of the organizers being like, that's what we have to deal with too. So
mhm,
it feels a little bit less alone knowing that there's always going to be shade being thrown your way, but there's also going to be a lot of people supporting you. So it made me realize it's always going to be at least a challenge on being an organizer because people will misunderstand you without even trying to get to know you. Some will even choose to misunderstand you. Back to the event. I even though people say this is they're be here like, oh my gosh, the flyer came out, there's a competition. Ooh, we've had that before. We had the reaction like, oh, I don't do comps. Because I
yeah,
think when they
yeah.
see that with like West Coast Swing points or even like championship titles, it can bring out it's like a salesperson. When you put a bunch of people in sales and say you get commission, you're gonna get some people that are gonna really step on other people just to get high up, right? But in actuality, I actually have a schedule with me here. Made sure to take that home. Majority of it was actually dance social. There was actually
Yeah.
not too much time for a few social events and a little bit. I'm gonna say roughly looking at it like 25% comps, and then like maybe like actually only enough time for two classes. That's it on
Mhm.
Saturday. That was it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like it was mostly dance socials for sure. So what went well? What could have been improved? So let's start off with the social, the dance social, and also the dances for you.
I actually want to. I want. There's something you said that I wanted to just highlight really quickly. It was the point about there being pushback. I think there's always going to be pushback because there's always people with opinions, but not everyone with opinions is everyone who's contributing. Just because people will say something doesn't mean there are people who will actually step in and step up to help. And I think that is an important thing to note. I do think all data, all feedback, like all feedback is data, right? But some of that is data for what not to do. Like I think, for example, some people might say, "Oh, you played salsa at a fusion event, ill," right? Like there are people who feel so, and I feel very strong. I feel very, very strongly about this. So I'm gonna not sidechain the podcast and the topic, but I do think it is important to note that everyone's contribution isn't useful. Everyone's words aren't equal, right? Like I do think there needs to be a level of buy-in. Like, are you involved in the community? Do you care about building the community? Are you active in it? Like, where else are you going? Are you being an ambassador to Fusion? Are you being an ambassador, and bringing other people in, including other communities? Like, oh, you're not? Okay, cool. Then what you have to say, maybe that ranks a little bit lower. Have fun over there. Thank you, right? Like, I'll get to your email at some point. Never. Like, no, but like I do want to highlight that because it's like, yeah, everyone's gonna have opinions, everyone's gonna have something to say, and I want to hear what people have to say, but also not every opinion has the same weight. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to throw that little piece in there. But anyways, we can talk about the dances and the socials and stuff too.
I think that there's a difference between, I definitely can clock in when someone is coming from a place of an opinion. I don't want to say it's more emotional. It just feels spontaneous and random and not intentionally thought out. Whereas someone that has maybe had experience in being an organizer, but also you have to factor in the, let's say they were an organizer in the past, was their audience the same as yours? Who are you trying to target? And so the people we trying to target in FU are kind of a bit different than your typical fusion. Like we can
Hmm.
invite everyone because
Yeah.
actually we'll talk about in another podcast
Yeah,
episode. FU is
yeah.
actually geared not towards for everyone. That's from a marketing
The
point of
easiest
view, it
way to
doesn't.
say it, I think, is just that like what we're trying to do is different than other things because we're trying to be a nexus point in LA specifically, and we're trying to bring in dancers who are either danced out of their home dance and are looking for more, or they're exploring and trying to find those other options and those other things. And they want fusion. They just don't know fusion exists. So
Yeah.
our whole thing is oriented more so towards those people than it is towards fusion specifically, or what you might consider your traditional fusion, if such a thing exists, which I think it does at this point, but that's a whole other conversation. So yeah, we're definitely more outreach than we are in reach.
Yes, correct. There's plenty of other opportunities for InReach in
Exactly.
LA.
Yeah.
We are filling in the gap. Anyways, so we're gonna do things differently. So, back to when you do things differently, there's always gonna be a pushback. It just reminds me of like corporate versus startup energy.
Hmm.
Startup energy is a bit different, it's a bit scrappy, all that kind of stuff. So, okay, let's start off with the dance socials and your dances.
Hmm.
How were they for you?
Ooh, I feel like they changed each night. They changed. Like
Really?
Friday night was different than Saturday was different than Sunday. Each night was different, and yeah. Okay. So I kind of say like I think I talked about this in a previous episode, but I think it was the hi-fi episode specifically that I mentioned this. But when I go to a weekender, I'm thinking, okay, I want to dance with as many people as I can on Friday. Like Friday, I'm trying to dance around the room. I want people to know I'm there. So I was like hungry to dance. I was like, I need this. Like y'all gonna have to scrape me off the floor. I'm staying here every night as late as I can. And that I did. So Friday was like, oh, I'm just getting as many dances in as I can, figuring out, okay, ooh, we have great connection, we got to work on it, like just like figuring out all those kind of things. And I enjoyed so many dances. I love the music. I will say about the DJ, which I won't say too much right now. I think it was not jarring. Jarring isn't the word that I would use, but I had a hard time keeping track of that. Like, oh, we're doing a DJ battle, and maybe having like additional cues to show that there's a DJ battle happening would have been helpful. Because I'm focused on dancing. I'm like, look, I'm here to get down. Like, who's trying to groove with your boy? I'll also say I was like, okay, I kind of anticipated having more of a fusion experience in terms of the music, and I appreciated that it felt more global than normal. I personally would have liked more Latin on the first night. Like I would have liked more, something that was, oh, I hear a salsa rhythm in this, or like I hear like a rumba, or something like that. And shout out to DJ Amari. Like there was some. Oh, that. I think that was my favorite set between, yeah, and Tony's set, because there was a string of, like, it was like Burna Boy and a couple other artists and Naika, and I'm like, this is it. Like, oh my gosh, that was, yeah. So still I was still hoping for, like just give me like one bachata. Like I'm not asking for a lot. Just give me like one bachata. Saturday I felt like I was in my flow, in my, like, just in my zone. Like, you can't tell me nothing, okay? But still dancing around the room, dancing with a lot of people. Although I kind of figured out, like, those pockets, and then seeing friends, seeing people I haven't seen in years. Like, there were folks who came out on Saturday that weren't there Friday or Sunday, and just, kind of having those, like, highlight moments. I think a lot of my best dances, in terms of what I would consider, the what I would want to show on Instagram, right? Like, I think those dances came out on Saturday. That was like, yeah, we here. And then Sunday, I think Sunday was my most personal dances. Like, Sunday was like a different level, which is usually how it goes, because you've kind of built up some rapport with people. Friday, you've danced around the room, you've met a lot of people. Saturday, you kind of get into that groove, you start really figuring out. And then Sunday was just like, Sunday felt like my best dancing had come out in a different way, where, because the comps are over at this point, we're not there to perform anymore. um, and so it felt like there was this whole other layer to dancing and to conversation, and especially to the late night. Like, there was definitely a change, like a shift in the room, because we had Friday and Saturday to do all that. I could appreciate the slowdown on Sunday. And when we have the opportunity in socials to go big and to express, I feel so much better about hitting that slow down point, where I'm like, okay, now if you want to play the sleepy time music, I'm good with that. Like, I'm good with sleepy time, because I've gotten the zoomies out, and yeah, I had some dances that were just, like, the dance comes away, and I think we've had this conversation, and we've had this conversation with others, where there's a point in the dances that feel really good, where you're like, I don't know who's leading. Like, I don't know if this is me, or if this is you, or if this is both of us, or what, but stuff is happening, and it's amazing. It's just this level of, like, meditative flow. I felt like that happened the most on Sunday. And I felt like there was a point I was like, I can't have a bad dance. Like, I just, every dance just works. Like, they all just work. And I'm pulling out stuff. I'm like, how'd that happen? Stuff is happening in the dances. And I'm like, did I lead that? Who led that? But it just fit. Yeah, it absolutely incredible. And I think, like, there were things that I kind of was like, oh, I can work on this. I can sharpen this. Like, I can definitely build my tool set. I think for the most part, the dancers in the Bay, it felt like there was a lot of this tango influence there. What I would consider, like a tango, and even, like, even Kiz. I think I saw some Kiz influence there, um, as well. And so I think, like, if you're coming from, like, a NorCal, or if you're coming from a SoCal and you're heading up that way, like, brush up on your tango for sure, or, like, head to your local, Kiz spots, and just park in there for a little bit. You're gonna need it, because I feel like that was a lexicon. That was, like, kind of the stuff that came up a lot for me. Just kind of observing the room. It seemed like there's a lot more switch dancers in NorCal than there are in SoCal. Like, when I say switch dancers, I mean, like, folks who are proficient at both leading and following, not just open to leading or following, but, like, oh, their lead and their follow are equal.
I think overall it was follow heavy. Um, it's hard sometimes to for me to be like, oh, I didn't realize until I saw them during competition that, oh, these people switch dance, these females switch dance, and I need to remind myself to ask them. But and I think your experiences, I had a different experience from you. I think my overall weekend, my quality of dances, they were okay. There was gonna be a handful where I was like absolute delight and everything. And I remember thinking like, am I And then I realized I was talking to some other person who switched dances and they said I had better dances with follows. They were leading their follows than the other way around, where they were follows and they were being led. So then that kind of reconfirmed what like I was thinking. There were times where I was standing on the side for a while because it was follow heavy. Not that I minded it because we I was able to chat and observe as well, but I had a conversation with someone that and we said we kind of had a similar complaint where we said, okay, some people come up to you and say, would you like, many people come up and say, like, would you like to lead, follow, or switch? But some people do not do the other role, or they might say they switch, but let's say, like, for example, I would never, right now, I don't say I'm going to switch because my lead is not even close to proficient at all. So some people like if I'm going up to, let's say, a female and I'm saying, and I know that they switch, I've seen them, I watch them, etc. Then I'll be like, hi, would you like to dance? I only follow. And I just rather would have that straightforward conversation. Whereas like some people, I feel like we were talking about some people might feel like a pressure to say like, do you lead, follow, or switch? And then they'll be okay, well, yeah, let's switch dance. And then
Mhm.
when they follow and I'm leading, they can't it's like it's very hard to lead them, difficult to lead them because they just don't follow or they don't know how to follow, but they're just saying it. So it was a conversation of just like, people, please be honest. That was one thing,
Mhm.
side conversation on the sidelines that came up.
Yeah.
Overall, so Friday was like exciting. Like I just landed to Oakland, and obviously the first set was very rhythmic. I will say Friday's music was probably the most global sounding compared to Saturday and Sunday. So for people, I think for people, I'm trying to, if someone new was walking in, they might be like, "Oh, this is too much, maybe too much rhythm or too much Latin or too much Afro beat for me."
Mhm.
Because there was a lot of music that was like his, um, and whatnot. But I enjoyed it because it was something you don't see often. Like, oh, I do wish they had more of that mixed in Saturday and Sunday. I feel like there are times where I was also talking to someone on the sidelines too, where on Saturday and Sunday, there are moments where I felt like I was at an EDM concert or maybe like in Aladdin, like the movie Aladdin. I think it's just more of like sometimes there might be a theme that a DJ may
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I would rather prefer to have it all kind of like diverse, but it
Yeah.
depends. Sometimes different organizers, different DJs have different visions and whatnot. So, um,
Yeah. I feel you on the EDM concert portion. There definitely was a part I was like, okay, it's getting real athletic in here. Like this is okay, we're burning calories. Yeah.
The thing I will say is, again, with most or almost all fusion dance scenes I've seen, a lot of people struggle dancing to Afro Latin beats. It's like they don't know how to express the
Mhm.
music. I think it's rare this weekend that I heard a swing rhythm. Maybe a few, two or three songs I feel like that could have been like dance, like Lindy or East Coast swing, or has that swing feel, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There was like again like EDM concert or I call it the fusion womp 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 music. I don't know how to
The
describe
womps,
it.
the womps and the wubs. There were some womps and there were some wubs. I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy a good wub here and there. I enjoy a good womp here and there. My beef
Yes.
is just when it's the entire night. Like if that's the only thing I'm
That's
getting,
what someone
it's
else said too. Yeah.
like I show up to a restaurant and you're feeding me almonds and that's it. And it's just almonds. I'm like, hey, can we switch? Can we add some other things to this too? Almonds are great, but can we have something that's not that? Can I get some soup? You know?
Yeah.
Can I get a
Yeah.
plantain? Like, do we anyways?
And also throughout the night, in case people are wondering, okay, so there was a DJ battle on Friday and Saturday. So they would have two DJs for like an hour. Yeah, for an hour, they would play a little bit of their music and then they would play the other person's music. So for example, on Friday, it's Leah and Addie. And so they would switch, let's say, the lights from blue for like, I'm just making this up, blue for Leah and then like pink for Addie, right? And I think it's kind of obviously I was kind of confused about what was going on, but at the same time I understood at the end, you whoever's DJ music you enjoyed more, then you scan the QR code and you vote for them. But I agree with you. We're in the middle. It's in the middle of the social dance floor. Is that going on? And so
Yeah.
people kind of, at least for me, even I, someone who's on top of things, usually forgot to even vote.
Yeah.
And also the QR code, you have to kind of find it. So there's more like friction it's like doing a little bit of homework, but still feels like,
Yeah.
a little bit of homework.
Yeah.
And so, but like you said earlier, the transition for it or like the reminder of people to take time right now to vote.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think, I don't know how I would have redone it, but
Oh, I have an answer. I have an
or
answer.
maybe have like the MC kind of like really announce it more instead of like at the end, give it up for your DJs and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think like for me, just like, this is a quick whatever, right? Like if y'all are listening in NorCal, we love you. This is just a thought from me.
We're giving free consulting
What
advice here.
I what I would do
Unpaid consulting.
unpaid. I mean, you could always pay us in like free merch and tickets and invites and things like that. No, shout outs. We love shout outs. We appreciate shout outs. What I would do is I would make it part of the experience. Like if you have a battle, right? You're having these two people kind of go head to head. I think the phone makes sense. I understand why that would be a first choice, but it's jarring to leave the dance space, that sort of communal thing, to pick up your phone in the middle of all of this. And then you're going to scan a QR code. You're going to like, it pulls you out of the experience. I would incorporate the experience of voting into the entire thing. And I think the lighting kind of works if you reinforce it. So I would give people things like glow sticks. Give them things where they can either choose between a red glow stick and a blue glow stick, or they have something where they can switch to this side or that side. Have them vote that way, or have them move from one side to the other. Like incorporate the physical sort of tactile nature of dance with this thing. If you keep it sensory in that way, you don't pull people out of the experience. I would forget to vote. Most of the time, I would
Same.
vote at the end of the night when I was on my way back. Like I'm in the car in the Uber or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, that thing happened. So, and that was if I remembered to do it, because I was in a conversation with someone and they were like, oh yeah, oh yeah, there was a DJ thing. I forgot about that. So rather than kind of pulling people from the experience, make it part of the experience. It's a little bit more work in terms of gathering those lights, but you have people, all right, you're gonna pick up a glow stick, you're gonna drop it in this bin, or you're gonna have them lay it on the stage and you just count, or some you can find a way to do it like that, but make it about the lights, and then that keeps that party energy in there too. People are like, oh, you're waving a blue light, everyone gets two, right? You get a blue one, you get a red one, or you get a purple one, you get a gold one, or something like that, right? Like if you make it that sort of that kind of fun thing, it just keeps all that in that pocket.
Another conversation I had on the sidelines regarding music was, do you like crossfades? So in case people are wondering, it's
Ooh.
when a DJ plays a song and then they kind of blur it into the second song and then blur it into or slur it into the third song. So it transitions. There's no like the song stops and then a new song begins.
Mhm. You know what? I thought crossfades were an interesting choice. I think they're better the longer the weekend goes. Like I think Friday, don't crossfade, or do very little crossfades. I think Friday needs to be about, and this is something I would do. Like if I'm organizing, I'd be like, hey, we're gonna minimize crossfades, because you want people to have a clear, okay, you're gonna start, you're gonna stop, you're gonna start, you're gonna stop, you're gonna dance around the room. Saturday, I would do a little bit, and Sunday is where I would have the most crossfades. I think it can work for fusion, but it's kind of murky if you're not familiar with sort of kind of like, okay, like with Zook, for example, they'll dance like 20 dances straight with the same person, and that's just the norm. Like that's just the expectation. It's like, what do you mean you only dance three? Do you hate me? Right? Like that's the norm. That's the vibe there. Whereas in other dances, my experience, especially in fusion, if you're dancing more than like four, that's a long-term relationship. Like y'all go together. Like that's okay, cool. Like what are we naming the cat? Right? Like we're shopping together. We have a Costco membership. Like it's real. It's serious. So I think I would do a little bit of balance with that, where with the first, like the first night, make it about people dancing and getting to meet new people. And then as it continues, like as the weekend goes, okay, we'll do a little more crossfade. But I'd still do like, okay, I kind of do like maybe like a tanda sort of approach, where we're doing three songs are going to crossfade, and then there's going to be a stop. Which I think like I noticed a couple. It felt like a couple of the DJs were doing like a couple of the, like there'd be songs that would flow, 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 and then there'd be like a natural stop, and that was like, thank you, oh my gosh, thank you for the dances, they were great. Oh, wow. Now I'm going to go dance around the room, or get water, or say I'm going to get water, and then another great song would come on, and then I'd make eye contact with someone. I'm like, well, I have to, you know. Yeah. So,
The sideline conversation, we wound up like actually agreeing like we don't like crossfades.
mm,
And I'm gonna say this from a psychological point of view. It's easier to say yes to someone to dancing. It's more difficult to say no to someone, let's please stop
mm,
dancing. And I know people are like, you have autonomy, you have a blah, but it's just when you have to do that for every single song, then it just creates more friction. Or there are times where I'm like, I don't know. I didn't come from Zook. I didn't come from Kids. So this isn't normal for me. Even tango, the guy was just like, yeah, they even have a break in their tandas though. Like there is a break, you know? So
mhm.
when there's constant crossfading and there's people coming from different dance backgrounds, like I'd rather finish a song with someone and say, do you want to dance another one?
Okay.
Instead of like,
Yeah.
how do I take myself away from this person?
Yeah. Like you want to have the choice to opt in versus being
Correct.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's more of a follow thing. Well, actually, no, he agreed too. So and then he was a lead. And he was saying like he was an organizer for like a different dance scene. He's like crossfades, look, they're great for parties, they're great for weddings when you're just trying to keep the energy going. He's like for dancers, it's different. He was saying like once they tried to do it at West Coast Swing because people are like, we're gonna bring in a DJ that knows how to professionally mix music, all that stuff. And they were like, it wound up, they're like, this is one of the worst ideas we ever did,
Oof.
but this was a
Yeah.
terrible idea. But that's at least now
Yeah.
there's data to know
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? It works in Kids, it works in Zook, but also like Kids with the music, you can kind of blend it because they kind of all have like similar beat in that case. Um, yeah, so I think overall, no, not a fan of them. I can see why people do it from maybe a like DJ slash creative point of view, but from a dancer's point of view, I'd rather have the other way around where I can just say,
Yeah.
thank you so much, goodbye. Yeah, it allows to have a period in the sense. And then for my dances, I think there was a so I think one that stood out to me was, and this is one of those like by chance it happened. It was Friday night and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna go now. But then there's one guy, I was like, I've not danced with you yet, and I was like, he kind of looks like a Westie. I can't tell. He does because it was like some sort, I was like sugar push. But but also every time I tried to see if he was free, he was dancing with someone else. And this time he wasn't free. I happened to go up to him. The music didn't really start yet, and I was like, do you want to dance? And turns out it was like either contemporary or acoustic song. And when I danced with him, I was like, oh, this is a ballroom person. And it just clicked. It was a very beautiful, flowy. He traveled around the dance floor, great floor craft. And that was probably one of my highlight dances too. I had a couple, but it was just one where I was like, I got the right dancer,
Yeah.
quote unquote, right dancer, for the right music on how I want to express it, that song. And I remember at the end, we were just like, that was amazing, wonderful. And even a gentleman came up to us and said, that was so good. I was watching you guys. And I was like,
Mhm.
thank you so much. But it was by chance. And that was the last dance I had because I was like,
Mm.
I'm about to leave. I think I danced with everyone and I tried dancing with all the leads here. So that was that. On a side note, because we were volunteering. One thing I always try to do is when it comes to logistics, a lot of things fall on the front desk. People don't realize it, but that's where the front desk gets like a lot of the issues, a lot of the questions, a lot of stuff. So I came in as a floater, but I I I I was like, okay, let me help you guys out. And then they're like, okay, this is what we do for check-in and sign-in, etc. And I, acted as if I was walking and I was like, excuse me, where's the lost and found? Excuse me, what's the Wi-Fi? Excuse me, where's the restroom? How much is the merch? And it was just, they're like, these are great questions. I'm like, this is what you get thrown at every
Mhm.
single registration
Yeah.
event you work at. Even ones that aren't even dance related. Excuse me, where's the nearest place I can? And you're like, I didn't realize I was a hotel concierge either. So that's that. I did love the fact that it was cute how instead of having wristbands, they had safety pins with a little
Yeah.
charm with a sunshine on it because
Mhm.
like sunshine was
Like
like
Sunshine Team, Sunshine
yeah,
theme. Like,
exactly. That was
yeah.
that was their name and whatnot. So that was really cute. Anyway, so that's logistics. So okay, let's move on to classes. I don't think you took any, did you?
I did not. I did
Okay.
not. And I'll
Yeah.
say, like, I'm not a hater of classes. I do believe in education. Shout out to FU, our whole thing. But like in reading the description, it wasn't a pull for me. Like in looking and seeing, I didn't look and see something that I said, oh, this is what I want. This is something that's speaking to me. And so I made the decision instead to use that time to rest as well as to get to know other people that are there, spend time with people, spend time with dancers who are out of town, people I don't get to see normally. I felt like that was a more beneficial use of my time, which That's not to say that the lessons weren't good or the classes weren't worthwhile, but just for me, it didn't draw me in. Like I've been to some weekenders where I said, "Oh, I need that class." Like there was a weekender where they had Crump. I'm like, I need to be in that class. Like I want to be there. I want something that's going to be different outside of the norm. Something I feel like is going to be a genuine challenge. Like I need challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, oh, take me somewhere I haven't been before. Show me the horizon. Pull me out of my place of comfort.
So there's like two slots for classes, and that was it. So the first one, you could either choose mutual partner connection, which is the one I chose, and then or performance tactics. And so that one I did mutual partner connection. I figured it was probably going to be the thing about fusion is sometimes there's technical classes, technique based, and then there's concept classes. So I feel like this was maybe our concept classes. I think people who do like contemporary or maybe do a static dance would have loved this class on having mutual connection. And it was a lot of exercises in moving with each other and moving around the room. There are moments where they're just like, hey, move really fast and move really, but it wasn't, I didn't feel like it was more like, it wasn't like for floor craft. I felt like it was more of like reading um, each other. But there's some moments where there's some people where they were so, you know how sometimes people in our community, there's a few that are they move very sporadically on the dance floor. And I felt like that. I did get bumped a couple times too. So I felt like it was very, in the end, someone was like, I feel really grounded. So I feel like this reminded me of something I would do in ecstatic dance. I would say for sure. Um, yeah. And then the second class was you can choose from musicality on demand, which is what I chose, and then get into the zone competition prep. So for musicality on demand, it was more like it felt like a sort of lecture class, sort of. And so, or a music theory class, that's what I felt like,
Oh, okay,
it's like
okay, yeah.
beats, phrase changes, listening, there would be different music being played, and we would count it like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when the phrase change would come up, and then we would go on the dance floor, and you could either lead or follow, but it's more like when you see it start to rise, like change, or, kind of like I was leading someone, and right when it goes like 5, 6, 7, 8, and in the one, that's when I would like turn someone. It's kind of like being able to read the music. Um, there was always like one extra person. So there are times where I kind of didn't do the dance exercise and I just kind of watched because I was like one extra person, if that makes sense. And I felt bad because towards the end of class, I kind of like hopped out of class because I saw friends on the sideline and I was like, oh, hi, blah, blah. We started talking. And then I was like, oh no, I should go back to class and hope the teacher's not mad at me. But yeah, anyway, so that's what happened. So that was really helpful for like, I think people, if they're struggling with musicality, especially different genres of music, that was helpful too. I will say though, the probably my favorite thing this weekend was okay. So they had a competition, which we'll get to, and you can go either in the beginner division. They call that the sunshine division. So you're either 7 years or less, 7 years or less of experience with dancing,
Yeah.
and then that's what I was in. And then you were in the veterans or advanced division, which is when you dance 7 years or more, or you're a professional dancer. So for the Sunshine or Beginners division, you get to compete and then go into the finals if you make it. And then on Sunday, there was a portion called Sunshine Feedback. And that's where people in the beginner division, like me,
Yeah.
got to go to a room with teachers and judges that watch us, aka teachers, and get feedback on what they saw, how we performed and everything, or just how we danced, right? I will say though, one thing with from a marketing perspective, also from a user experience perspective, when I was looking at this and I'm pretty good at like reading everything on the website, I was confused at some of the wording for some of this. For example, sunshine feedback. I literally thought all this time it was giving feedback to the organizers for their event. That's what
Yeah,
I
that's
thought.
how I read it.
Yeah.
That's how I read it too.
Yes. Yes.
Same,
And
same, same,
so,
same. I was
yeah.
like,
And then
oh, okay, cool. So I'm like, I have a note full of like, this is really good. This is how I would do this. I would change, like, just like, because I was like, oh,
yeah,
they want feedback. I
yeah,
love feedback. Let me
yeah,
get my
yeah. And
feedback
then
ready. Yeah.
exactly. And then like, for example, on Friday it says, so you think you could dance fusion dance? I thought that was the can you dance to undanceable music? But then that was on Saturday. So it was confusing. And then luckily someone in from LA was just like, oh no, you're strictly the one that you and I are signed up for together. That's on
Mhm.
Friday. So I literally landed,
Yeah.
but I was like, that's tonight. What? Okay.
Same. No, same, 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 same.
So I think that sometimes I know that's the one thing. It's like finding the balance between having your theme and all that kind of stuff versus being direct with your copywriting, right? Because sometimes being so direct copywriting, or like some people will be like, "What's a sunshine max mix and match?" And you're like, "Well, that's the beginner division, pretty much." What's the veterans one? Well, veteran sounds actually like advanced.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Anyways,
I think that's where using like the subheaders can be really helpful, really
yeah,
useful because
yeah,
it's just like, oh, you have the title, the fun title, and then you have like the blah blah blah. Like,
yeah.
oh, this is
So
that way people don't
yeah.
get like, kind of lost in the sauce a little bit.
So for Sunday, the sunshine feedback, that was probably my favorite thing this whole weekend. Like I could have not taken any single class. This is the one part where you come in and obviously when you're competing in the beginner division, there's scoring, and so you'll see the scoring, but actually you just go up to all the judges and like you rotate and they'll kind of give you feedback. Some gave like sat down with you and they just gave more like verbal feedback. Some were more hands-on where they're just like, what are you looking to like kind of improve on? And I would say, yeah, I tell them I get the same feedback from like teachers in general. It's like I need to be more grounded. Um, I need to slow down sometimes and not have the zoomies. I also need to stop anticipating a little bit. And I'm trying to think what else. There's always like similar themes like that. Um, in footwork. And so there's one or two that are just like, okay, let's just let me just see. And then they'll dance a little bit and they'll be like, oh, there's one I loved where she took like it felt honestly, the session was getting a private from like six
Yeah.
different teachers. That's like it was so worth like more than the value of what the weekender would cost, right? So, and I remember she'd be like, this one was a very hands-on teacher. And she's like, I see what you're doing. Okay. And it was really my left arm not connecting. She's like, you're too floaty. Like your left arm needs to sink in more into my arm and rest into my arm. And then also that way, and then when she danced again, she's like, see how you can feel me better. And I was like, yeah. And so she said and that's the thing, it's refining. And I was telling this other dancer, I was like, I think that's the thing I want. It's like a class where it's you're an experienced dancer or you have experience and you're refining your basics and getting tweaks, but that's also what you get in a private, right? Versus like paying for a class and it's with complete beginners that have no idea what to do. And there was another one where she was like, okay, when you style, don't lose your connection. When you style and you don't put enough, essentially how I interpret it was if you don't put enough pressure with your lead, you lose the connection. And so she had me lead her and she started doing what she was trying to explain. And then she put more of a connection, a better connection with me. And she's like, see how you can feel me better, even though I'm doing all this embellishment and all this styling. And that way your lead can get you to where they want you to go or kind of can communicate with you better. And I was like, oh, even though it's just like a 1 second, like, oh, you
Mm-hmm.
just disconnect for 1 second, and, it's not awful for a dance social, right? It's just more so it gives a better experience and connection for you and your partner, essentially. And it was just such. I remember leaving this 2 hour feedback session, being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is what I want more of. This was what made this whole weekend worth it. Obviously, it's fun having dance socials and all that stuff, but in terms of like learning and growth, this, this, I could
Yeah.
cancel every single class I've ever taken. This is what I wanted.
Damn.
Anyways, so
Yeah.
thank you for Sunshine Team for having that. That was so useful. I actually want to compete every year now in the beginners
Wow.
division just so I can get the
Just to get the
Sunshine Team
feedback.
to get the feedback. Yeah,
Well, you only
yeah,
got a couple more years of that, so.
yeah, yeah. I'll just still say like even though I've been 10 years, I'll be like, I'm still a beginner. I'm only 2 years in. Okay, now moving on to social events. So there was on the social events, like I would say like community bonding events that
Mhm.
happen mostly on Sunday. I slept in most of the time because I actually worked this weekend a little bit and
Mm.
it kind of screwed me over. But there was unserious dance games happening for the first session, and then a Super Smash Brothers tournament. And yes, that's what it is, people playing video games. Um, there
Hey,
was
shout out to all my gamers out there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all
yeah.
my to all my Ryu mains. I see you. I see you.
And then there was also a BIPOC potluck, so Black Indigenous people of color potluck. And for some reason, I don't know, my brain was just not working. I think it's just I didn't know what the information for this was. So I thought it was a potluck where everyone's invited. There's gonna be so much people, so much food, and we're just celebrating like the colored people in the community. And then like someone from LA was like, no, it's gonna be just a potluck with people with BIPOC
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
wait, what?
yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, really? And so they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's probably gonna be a lot of people there. And then I paused and I was like, oh, you're right. It's majority white people. Oh shoot. It's one of those things where it took a minute for me, like
Yeah.
30 seconds to click, and I was like, oh man. Oh my gosh, there's not a lot of people, BIPOC people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
I will say I appreciated it. Not to cut you off, I appreciated the fact that we did have a space because I went to one at Camp Hollywood, And then there's another social. I can't remember off the top of my head. There was another weekend where there was another like BIPOC meetup, and I love that intentionality because it gave me the opportunity to meet people and to talk to people that I'm like, yo, we here, like we outside with it. Okay, like I don't always get to talk to everyone that I want to talk to. I don't always get to hang out with everyone I want to hang out with at a social, but I do try to be really intentional. Like when I see other folks of color, especially when I see other Black folks, I'm like, yo, what's up? We out here. I'm like, okay, we here. I'm like, let's talk. Right?
Does it feel like for you, like for me, I'm like,
Yeah,
if I see the word potluck, I'm there. So, to be
yeah.
honest,
he
that's why I was
said
like,
he said they had me at food.
yeah,
Understood.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it feel like for you? Is it like to feel seen or more like, oh, I get a little like we get a little spotlight for ourselves? Like,
Yeah. It feels like sometimes I don't think they mean to do this, but because of just how fusion tends to break down and how most social dances tend to break down, there tends to be one group represented or overrepresented, right? And like generally speaking, I'll just speak for like, Los Angeles, even though Los Angeles is a global city, it doesn't always look like a global dance floor. And so when there's an opportunity to just like enjoy being in a space with people who get it without having to explain what it is, it's like, I can just like kind of relax and not have to like I don't feel like I have to put on. It's almost like I can let my hair down a little bit, and we're all here, and we can just enjoy that. And again, it's like I don't, that's no hate or shade towards the general fusion community or general dance community, or like whatever dance scene it is, right? But if you go to West Coast Swing, typically you know what the music is going to be like, you know who's going to be there on the dance floor for the most part. You know what I'm saying? You kind of like there's going to be the certain feel versus going to a salsa event, right? Like, generally speaking, you go to salsa, it's what it's going to look like, feel like, all that kind of stuff. And so with fusion, having that space where it's like, yo, it's just us, cool. It felt like I felt more at ease in a way that is it's really it's like hard to put like a finger on. It's hard to say exactly what it is, but it's just like, oh, okay, cool. Like I might say a couple things or use a couple words you might not be used to hearing me, use and say, right? Like I'm like things will come out because I'm like, okay, I don't have to look over my shoulder and be like, like what, what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm here. So that for me is what it felt like, and what the experience feels like.
now, finally, drum roll. We're gonna talk about the competition. The dance fusion dance comp. I asked him this is not the first one that's ever been held ever. So but overall I think y'all it was chill. It was chill. There's no points to be accumulated. There's no like, okay, and what next, and I'm gonna keep competing, so it's like a one-off type of thing. It feels more like that. And also like the reason why we did it, at least I did, was I wanted to go up and represent LA and be like, yay, we're out there, we're doing it. And kind of yeah, show that what we like what LA can bring. Not just
Yeah,
LA the city, but more like our flavor of what this cultural of the culture, like the mixed diverse culture of dances that we have down here and we can bring up.
yeah.
So I will say I really love the MCs. They were really engaging. They were very supportive. They were like, give it up, y'all, for all these people. The way I felt like or the finals at least, it felt more the way it was set up feels more like when you see, two hip hop people battling it out and everyone is like, even though they're battling each other, everyone on the sidelines is like cheering both sides
Yeah,
on, like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, like well, hyping everyone up. I love that so much because it really does affect you, at least when for me. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna talk about Strictly comps. So Strictly is when you choose
Mhm.
a partner and you sign up together. So Kenny and I sign up together and we're like, okay, we are gonna go and compete in a Strictly competition. Their Strictly is called So You Think You Can Fusion Dance. So that was the first night on
Mhm.
Friday. I
Yeah,
think this is the one that threw a lot of us off because
yeah,
we were not expecting how they were going um to run it. So what happens is that usually with Strictly's and other places, you kind of go through like prelims, and you go through rounds. You first go through like what's it called? Prelims and then like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you have like
quarterfinals,
your
finals, like that.
prelims,
You're right.
quarters,
Yeah.
semis,
And
finals,
a
all of
bunch
that
of you
stuff.
just
Yeah.
dance to a song, like a song, like a 90-second song on the dance floor. And then judges will mark and be like, hey, certain people will advance on to the next round.
Hmm.
This was more of like an endurance uh experience. So what they did was they had all 18 couples or something like that come on the dance floor and they literally play music. I don't know, it felt so short, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. They would play a style of music and then you would literally dance
Yeah.
and then the DJ would switch it to another one and then you would literally keep dancing and then they would switch
Hmm.
to another song and every
Yeah.
song got more. There were songs that were like at first in the beginning like I don't want to say basic, but like, you dance to it. And then it
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
more weird. The songs got more weird or more tricky in a like what are some songs that were played that were you're like, what?
Like there was like the
There was
Pokemon theme, the Fresh
yeah,
Prince of Bel
Pokemon
Air.
theme.
There was like a polka song. There was some like electronic stuff. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. I was thinking they were gonna play more of things that would pull out
hmm
like distinct partner dance
yeah.
styles
Like,
and see
oh,
how you can
this is
mix
a
it up.
bow swing song. Like this is like
Yeah.
a salsa cumbia rumba. Like this is like a yeah.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, they
that's
didn't
what I
have
had
any
in
really,
mind.
they didn't have like too many like
Oh
Afro
yeah, no,
Latin
there
things in
was
that
no
one.
like for the Strictly, there was no Latin. That was my beef. Like I was like I wrote in
Yeah.
my notes where the flippity dip is the Latin. You know, so we had to keep it clean on. You know, what I'm saying? But
And
like
so,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So musicality was a huge factor. That's what they were saying in the announcements. And then there will be judges on the outside. And if you get, they'll go up to you and they'll tap you out. So that means you just leave the dance floor. So essentially, eventually there'll be like four couples left and those will perform in the finals, right? I can't remember. Did they perform the finals right then and there? They did, didn't they?
yeah.
Okay.
They took like a
Yeah.
quick break
Yeah,
and then
to
they
recover. Like literally,
yeah
it was like a 6 minute like round of like dancing where you would they would just keep changing music and you would dance and you keep dancing. And yeah, and I will say like we had a lot of joy. Let's just put it that way. What's interesting is I think, and this also happens. I would say this is something for both competitions, the Strictly's and the Jack and Jills, or they call it mix and match, right? So um, what I think there's a difference between the People's Choice Awards and then
yeah
the Judges Awards
yeah
because
yeah
judges,
yeah
they might be, there is a rubric of like quality of movement, showmanship, because I remember a judge telling me during the feedback session, like, we don't want to, the dance shouldn't look like we're intruding on two people dancing. It's like, it's for the audience, it's to each other. We want to
yeah. Mhm.
show the dance, right? Which I know some people might like disagree with that, but I totally understand. What the judges might be eyeballing or looking for is something that might be naked to like a regular eye, right? It's kind of like if you don't have the technique or the quality of movement down, it's gonna hurt your score, right? And so that's where I think mine did as well. Um, and I remember talking to someone in Hustle where they said, "Oh, there's this judge in Hustle," and they people are like, oh, why did that judge vote this way? It doesn't make sense. But then when the judge took time to break down and explain what they were looking for, they were like, oh, this makes
Yeah
so much more sense. But
yeah
obviously, in a weekender event like this, you're not going to let the judges talk for 20 minutes trying to see what they break down.
Mhm.
So that's one thing where like, even though like
yeah
I think the awards would be different if it's the People's Choice Awards versus because sometimes People's Choice Awards could be popularity contests or it could be
hmm
what looks flashy, that kind of stuff, versus like what is technically clean, what is
yeah
good connection,
yeah.
etc. Right.
And I think
So
that's really important. Like just
mhm.
like to highlight this point is like the judges' scores, I think, should reinforce the principles that ultimately push fusion in, I think, a good and healthy direction. Because I think that's the thing is that like with any kind of event, if you have a competition, ultimately the winners of that competition should be the people who are kind of carrying the torch of what this thing is. You know, like if we have, let's say we have like a salsa or bachata, tournament or competition. You know, there's that, right? So like the people that you're crowning ultimately are the people that best represent the thing, the heart and the core of the thing. And if there's not clarity around that, I think it can throw people for a loop, both people in the competition and people who are observing the competition. Like, oh, well, what are we looking for? So I do think it would be helpful, especially even if it's not during the event, have something separate outside of that where people are learning, oh, this is what the judges were looking for. Like, oh yeah, so in this video, this person does X, Y, and Z, and this is an example of the thing that we're looking for. Like, this is what we mean when we say
Yeah,
quality of movement, right? Like this is what we mean when we
right.
say musicality. Like, oh, see how they're hitting. Like there was a class on musicality. I think it would be useful to reinforce musicality by saying like this is an example of it, so people are
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
seeing it, feeling it, understanding
Because
it.
I feel like we'll get to it, but like I feel like in competition when I saw who won like first place,
Mhm.
they weren't the flashiest at all. They were probably a bit more, I wouldn't even say vanilla. They were more like you if I had to describe it, it's like they were really good at their basics,
Yeah,
if that makes sense. And they were more earthy dancers. That's what I noticed. A lot of the winners, they were more earthy, to the ground type of dancers. So yeah, and also I feel like for the Strictly's, it's like, and someone else said this too that competed, we all trained for the wrong thing. Like
yeah,
we were
yeah, yeah, yeah,
training
yeah, yeah.
to learn, and this other dance friend, was saying like, yeah, we were training to like brush up on every single dance styles, and then instead it felt like more of like it's like I feel like I was studying for biology and we were given a chemistry exam. And you're like, wait,
Yeah. That's a good
wait,
way to
this
put
is
it.
both science, but you're like, oh my gosh, I
This
am
is
kind of not
different.
prepared for this. Yeah, this is
Like
different. This is different.
the
So,
mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Got that? Cool.
you
Like,
know what? You know what you should have done? You know how the, I was thinking this, you know how the judge is about to tap you out? You should just
yeah.
waltz us away from the judge. And so that way, no
Mm,
judge can tap us. Just be like,
I
doo-doo.
should just weave, been like weave, dodge.
So like
Yeah.
they see them approaching us and we're like, bye-bye. Okay. This
Oh
one was
wait,
more like,
we didn't talk about where we were. We were down what? We were down to the final six. Like we did,
I think 7.
seven. Oh, we were number seven. You're saying, or like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
were we
We were the
number? Oh, yeah, we're
seventh,
number seven.
like
Yeah.
seventh,
Okay.
roughly
Yeah, that's
seventh
pretty
couple
good.
out of 18 couples. So
Yeah. So we
yeah,
did pretty good. Yeah.
forgot
Like
about that,
we
but
can say
yeah,
that we did okay. Like we did okay.
we did all right
You know what I'm saying?
for the wrong exam.
Yeah.
Okay. So on Saturday, now this one is what people would think of. You go during the day from 4 o'clock to 6:30. There was prelims. So we so first it was like a bunch of couples that came up for the beginner division, and you would be paired up, and you would they would play songs, you would dance to it, and then you rotate partners, and then play another song, you dance to it, and I think there was like at least like maybe four-ish rounds of that, and
Yeah.
then
Something like that.
they'll tell who is in the finals.
Mhm.
And then they did that with the veterans, which is your division, the advanced division that you went in, and did a few. I remember watching you. The first song came on was
No, wait.
with
Okay.
Elliot.
Let me take this. Let me take this
Yeah,
part real
go
quick.
ahead.
So, boom, right? So they when they started, first of all, what they did with I think with the sunshine competition, it was really cool seeing them like kind of go through that process and rotate. They had a die, right? So like they would roll the
The
die,
dice.
and
Yeah.
then the like whatever the die landed on, that was like how many you would rotate. So if you were, let's say there's 10 people in a line, right? 10 leads, 10 follows, you would rotate four people, right? So then you dance with whichever that fourth person is. And that was kind of the way that they kind of kept it. And for the most part, people stayed in their line. So they found their place pretty easily, which is really impressive because most of the time I feel like dancers struggle with lines. Like anytime I've gone to a class and there's a line, it goes horribly. But whenever there's a circle, it works. For some reason, we got it together. And I was like, yeah, let's go, dancers. We did it. We stayed in line. Now, next thing, let's make sure we clap on the 2 and the 4. So, everyone stays in their lines and they're doing that, and that was really cool to see. So for the vets, I think it was pretty easy to kind of keep up with that sort of thing. But it was being judged differently, and the thing that mattered the most for that sort of prelim round was the feel of the dance. So instead of the judges judging it, it actually came down to the dancers. So the dancers were like, "Oh, like I danced with five
Oh,
people."
that's for your division.
Yeah.
For my
So
division, the
yeah,
judges
yeah.
did
For
judge
yours,
us.
the judge. Yeah, for yours, the
Yeah.
judges were
For
judging.
yours,
But
that was
for
interesting.
mine, that was like I was like, oh, so then it really is about it being subjective. It's about how it feels for the other person rather than it being how it looked, which is interesting because I was again talking about training for the wrong thing. Like in my mind, I was like, okay, I want to work on my quality of movement, and I want to work on my, my sort of showmanship and presence. Like I want to make sure that I'm there and I'm projecting the dance outwardly, not just having the feel of it internally. Like I have the rhythm in me and can translate that to my partner, but I need to make sure they can visually see it. So I was working on trying to like make sure my lines were good. I don't have like dead arm when I'm dancing because I do that sometimes where I'm dancing and then one of my arms is just there. It's just there. Um, but the feel was such an interesting thing because I'm like, oh, naturally I feel like I can focus on my partner. So when they said that, I was oh, okay, cool. That frees me up to not have to worry about these other things, which ironically enough, I feel like helped me you know what I mean? It's like because I didn't have to worry about it as much. I was like, oh, now I can do it when I feel like it's there and it doesn't feel forced. You know. So we would dance with five. We had five different partners, and they would roll the dice between each partner. So we would know okay, we're rotating two, we're rotating four, and we had paper that we would write on, and I was trying to write things that stood out about each dance rather than trying to remember how good the dance was. Like I was like, oh, this one was sharp, fiery, explosive, or this one felt free, elevated, lifted, right, or grounded, earthy, controlled, and then that kind of helped me figure out what dances really stood out to me. What I struggled with, and I think with another lead that I spoke to about this in that moment struggled with was the same thing other people I talked to struggled with, which was like what am I weighing in terms of what matters most, or like what am I weighing in terms of like what I enjoyed? Because I might have enjoyed a song because of the song more than because of the partner. Not to say that the partner wasn't there, but like, oh, it was such a good song. Like the first song, that Bad Bunny song, I would have enjoyed no matter who I was dancing with. But then the fact that it was Elliot, I was like, listen, listen. Oh, mm.
It's like when
Now
you get the right dancer with the right
the
song.
yeah, it was so like and and that was a hard thing. I felt like there were so many incredible dancers there, but there are some people that you have more natural dance chemistry with, which is why I don't know if I like this being the sole deciding factor, because it can change. Like that sort of thing can change. The way that I might dance a song that has sort of like a like that sort of like that bunny feel is different than how I would dance, a bluesy sort of like relaxed soulful song. And you may not always get the best representation if you're, if it's just about how it felt in that moment. It might just be me and this person didn't connect well. So I think it's tricky to judge it that way.
You know what I think is actually tricky for the dancers in a fusion dance comp is like, for example, pretend I got a Latin song
Yeah,
with a lead that doesn't know how to work with Latin music.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
is
yeah,
that going to be docked against me? Because let's say I just know Latin well, and versus the other way, it's hard for the follow. I feel like sometimes because a lot of the dance might depend on the lead and how they choose to move you. Let's say it's like, yeah, what if it's a Latin song? They're like, okay, we're West Coast swinging to this. I guess I'll try to work with it,
yeah,
or maybe oh, they're doing tango with me on this. All right, let's see how I'll
yeah,
work
yeah,
with
yeah,
it. But you're just like, oh, we could add so much more musicality if you knew. So it was interesting watching you guys in the veterans division because everyone had very interestingly different textures. Obviously, for the slow songs, like the one that was like there was like a slow song. It was very sweet. It was a very sweet
yeah.
poem.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was.
That
I
was
remember
mhm.
enjoying watching that the whole because everyone just seemed like they were having a very pleasant time dancing and a delightful time dancing, But when it came more upbeat, you saw how everyone danced so differently, and you're like, this is actually interesting to watch and judge. But again, when you have a rubric of like what is important, is it clean technique, quality of
Yeah,
movement, connection, that kind of stuff, then you can judge it based off that. But I will say, as a follow, it is hard because you're just like, I hope you know what you're doing, lead. Part of me is like that.
yeah.
And well, we both made the finals. Whoop-de-doo, yay! Anyways, and so yeah, for us, yeah, mine was posted on a piece of paper on the board, and then yours we found out through someone because they
Yeah,
WhatsApp us being like, "Hey,
yeah,
would they posted in Discord, which neither of us use
yeah.
because we have too many apps to manage right now." But like, and we're just like wow, Caitlin, you made
I got
this?
a text message from someone who was like, "Congratulations!" We were like sharing music, and then they were like, "Oh, congratulations on the final!" By the way, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm looking at the results for like the World Cup and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like hanging out on my floor, and then like yeah, I'm like the fine. What do you mean the fine? What do you? It didn't even register. Like because by that point, right? Like we already had a full night of dancing, so okay, I'm thinking about the dancing. Like I'm not, man, I had such a great time last night. I'm not thinking about the results and the this and the that.
Yeah.
And then it's like oh, I got to get ready. Like I need to stretch. Like I need to. Oh shoot. Okay. Like all of
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Luckily for me, mine was so my Saturday was when we did the prelims, and my finals was that night in the middle of the social dance floor, like at midnight, which is yeah. And yours was the next day at the socials, like at 9 p.m. So I'm glad mine was done and over because Saturday mine was done, and then on Sunday I got the sunshine feedback. I wish I got the sunshine feedback before the finals, but then I figured that's cheating from all the teachers, getting the
Yeah, it's kind
feedback
of
from the
like
teachers.
yeah, like a little edge
Hmm
or something
hmm
like that. I can see that.
Yeah, the final five people. So I got so for us it was they paired us they
Hmm.
called our names randomly to pair up with people.
Yeah.
And I was paired up with Ruben, a person. Oh, it's so funny. On Friday, I was trying to dance with every lead just to get the connection down and everything. Somehow we missed each other and we didn't dance. So literally, this is the first time we ever met. You know how sometimes you're hoping like for him, he's from the like right now in the Bay Area, so he could have gotten anyone from the Bay Area. The other dancers were from the Bay Area, so but he got me. So we literally were strangers, had never rehearsed, never
Yeah.
practiced before, never. touched hands before. So it was purely like random. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
when that happens, it's a little bit I won't difficult, but more of like the feedback he told me he got from judges is that he underdanced. But and I saw his Instagram, I was like, yeah, you could do so much more. But I understand when you don't want to throw your follow off for the
Yeah,
first,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's
And
real.
so
That's
I
real.
was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And for me, I didn't want to go, I still did my styling and everything, but I didn't want to go way crazy because I didn't want to throw him off because I didn't know how much he would get thrown off, you know?
Mhm.
Because in the beginner division, you can either be a beginner like 1 year's or like experience or 6 years experience. And I don't
Mhm.
know what span he was from
Yeah.
there.
And I will say, I think there were some people in the beginner or like in the Sunshine division who had more than 7 years experience, but maybe they didn't feel like they were comfortable with being in that, or they really wanted the feedback. So there were some folks there who I was like, "Mm, we've been I'm like, I won't snitch, but I know. Right. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. But sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. And also like really side note, like kudos to you for making the finals too, because the veterans division, I was watching and I was like, this is like there were so many amazing
It was
dancers.
stacked. It was stacked.
It was like to the point where even some people, there's only four leads and four follows that can make the finals, right? And a lot of the people I expected to make the finals didn't make
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Anyway, so that's that. But yeah, so yeah, I made it to the finals for and I guess for me, I was like, yay, go LA. It's like USA, but LA. Anyways, so and so we went up there and the MC kind of took a while. We were the first couple to go up. So I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
then and this is my first time ever competing, ever spotlighting, ever whatever. And the MC kind of was like making more announcements. So you know how you're just like awkwardly standing there. But luckily Ruben, he like I felt like energy wise, we were both like really sweet and kind to each other. But I was you know when you're like thinking like, oh, it's all right, we're doing this for LA. I'm
Mhm.
here and that's my purpose. And
I'm
then
just here to
you're
have
standing,
fun.
yeah, and then you stand
Yeah.
in front of the lights and you're like, wow, everything's so shiny. I can't see anything except for some people in the front row. Um, and you just kind of like not black out, but you're just like everything leaves
Yeah,
bright.
you like hit that zone. Like,
I'm like, but I'd rather have lights on and can't see the audience rather than like have the fluorescent ceiling lights on and then see everyone. That's even
yeah.
more nerve-wracking. In the video, you might see us smiling at each other and everything, but right beforehand, we legit were like doing really fast, quick chat, like, yo, what dances do you know? And
Yeah.
he was just like, oh, I know, you know, a bit of kids, I know some Zouk, and and I was just like, okay, I can follow this too. And he's like, if I do a gancho, do you know that in tango? And I remember saying him like, I think so, maybe. Like if you lead it well, because
Yeah.
it's like people have done on me, but I don't. Some people haven't. I've caught it, and some people I don't catch it.
Yeah.
So
Just like
we
lead
were
it loud
we were
so I
like
can catch it. Yeah.
we were legit. I was legit trying to extract as much information, like okay, blah, 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 to prepare ourselves. Like, okay, this is what we get, like what you can work, what we can work with, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the MC picks a genre of music out of not a hat, out of a shoe,
Hmm.
and we got Afro beats. And I remember,
Yeah.
I know you and also someone else in the North Bay, and someone else was just like, they told me they're like, oh,
Yeah.
they got it.
I was
I
like,
didn't.
yeah, no, they're gonna cook. Like they're gonna cook. Look, is the moment I heard Afro, I said, yup, yup,
Oh,
just
yeah.
yup. We know what it is. We know what it is. We know what it is.
But I wasn't sure what. And then you start hearing music. I was like, okay, it's a very kizomba song. And one of the judges during feedback sessions, like, I can tell you guys were starting to like kind of figuring out each other in the beginning, and then you guys got together. But yeah, and I was very happy with the dance. There's some things where I was just like, whoops, whoops, because in we are kind of like trying to read each other. And then
Yeah.
he was saying that he was focusing a lot on me. So it was like a lot of like it was good social dance because he was focused on the follow, but part of it was also showmanship too. So like also look out, or like a suggestion judge said was like you could have suggested to him like let's walk to the audience and look out and stuff like that. But also another judge was saying how like if I'm not grounded my feet, there were some things that he was trying to do perhaps that I didn't catch because
Yeah.
my connection was off. So it's things like that. Take moments of pausing when you roll through your feet or walk, be really intentional about it. So it was like that. But I think from just like an aesthetic point of view, from the People's Choice Awards, I think people enjoyed it. Um,
I'd say so.
so yeah,
I enjoyed watching.
everyone was, yeah.
No,
So
it was super good. And like just being in the crowd, no, like seriously being in the crowd, like I'm hearing all the whoops and the cheers and the oh and the
The
ah, oh
crowd,
that's so oh
yeah,
go
the
ahead.
crowd
Like
was
it was a
so
lot. It was a
cool.
lot.
The crowd was, that's why, like, the hype crowd. You didn't feel like, you felt like everyone was cheering for everyone, and that was great. And even a lady came afterwards and was just like, "I really loved your
Hmm.
dance," and it meant, like, made my night because But it's also one of those things where you're like, "Oh shoot, people know my face now." I forgot about that because I couldn't see anyone's face. So I'm like, whatever, people. But now it's like people know more of who we are, which is, it's kind of interesting. It's like we want to get fusion out there, but I also kind of want to hide sometimes. Like, I don't want to be celebrity. I don't want to, I just want to grow a dance scene. That's it.
I don't want to be a celebrity.
I don't want
It's like
people to
20
know.
people who do fusion. Shout out to the homeschooled emo theater kids. You know?
I love that. That was so funny. Okay. So that was that, and it went by. It felt like it went by fast, but also didn't.
Yeah.
And then and the people that the couple that won was
Hmm.
Amare and Bash, and
Yeah.
aka the ballroom guy that I had a nice floaty dance with.
Oh, that was
Uh,
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Shout out Salt
yeah.
Lake City.
Shout out
Yo,
Bash.
Salt Lake City just like, yeah, 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 yeah.
Now we
Yeah.
have a reason to visit Salt Lake
I
City.
need it. Yeah, I need to visit Salt Lake City. Listen,
Yeah,
Salt Lake City. LA's coming.
yeah,
But come to
and
LA because it's cheaper for us, please. Please, please, please.
yes, it's easy. It's cheaper to fly into as well.
We'll
So
we'll we'll buy you dinner.
yeah.
Frank
So
will buy
they
you dinner.
had did they I can't remember. Did they announce the winners there? No, they announced all the winners Sunday night,
Yeah,
like
they
at
announced
midnight.
winners on
Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah.
Right. So that was that. We went through five, but it was interesting because like everyone, I will say though, there was like Afro beats, there was acoustic. It was like
Hmm.
the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah.
There was like a bluesy song and then a few other songs. But I will say
Yeah.
out of all those, I was so glad we got Afro beats. That's the one that
Yeah.
I could have worked with the other ones too, but I
Hmm.
like something with rhythm.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have
or
liked to
something that's
see.
acoustic. I
Yeah.
was like, it's either that or acoustic.
Yeah.
It's like two opposites. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, I would have liked to see like okay, so like if there's these four quadrants, I would have liked to see there's like rhythm and there's maybe you could say like lyrical or melody or something like that. Like there's one and every couple's gonna get one or the other, and then every couple's gonna get like a faster or a slower.
Yes,
So
I feel like
like that
that's
way you can
something.
show the
Yeah,
range and have every
yeah,
couple do at least
agreed.
two dances rather than doing, kind of the way they did it with the invitational, where you got to see the range. Like you got to see, okay,
Yeah,
we're not just we're not just able to dance to slow stuff. We're also able to go to faster music and maintain our connection and our
exactly.
musicality and our showmanship and all that, all those things.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think so after the each I think the final five couples dance, they played one song where all of us danced to it in a crowd, like together.
Yeah.
And I can tell my feet weren't as grounded in that one as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if I was docked off a lot for that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, overall that was that. And then so for your division in the vets finals,
Yeah.
what did you feel like I guess when the finals were happening Sunday night?
Yeah, let me tell you. So what was crazy is like when they announced it, I was looking on the list and I was like, I don't know any of these people. I was like, I don't know any of
Oh,
these people.
you know
Like
what?
other
Yeah.
than Jonathan on the as far as elites, I was like, I don't know any of these names.
I felt like we were like a sports team that were traveling, like we're not playing on our home
Yeah.
field, right?
Yeah.
So they like some of these people, they're a lot of them are from the Bay Area or
Hmm.
NorCal, and they probably dance to each other, rehearse with each other, know each other's connection,
Hmm.
feel, and whatnot. So it's kind of like so
Yeah.
I felt like I'm going there more blind than them maybe, but it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see if they went down to LA whenever we have a
Hmm.
weekender and let's say there was a competition and they dance with people that are from LA because our
Yeah.
style of fusion is very different here as
I would
well.
say that, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll also
yeah.
add that it was interesting that people like how they matched people. I'm so curious as to how they did that. Because the person I was matched up with, shout out to Gracie Johnson from South Carolina. So we had some, we saw each other kind of before the comp, and so we got to talk a little bit and kind of, and we didn't know we were going to be linked up, which is really funny. We didn't know that, or at least I didn't know that we were going to be paired together. So it just so happened that we had a good little conversation and stuff. We are like, yeah, let's dance beforehand, just like to get a feel and stuff. So when they started music, I think it was an hour set before the comp started. We got to get a dance in and everything, and mind you, I'm not even like dancing. I'm in my little chanclas, you know what I'm saying? I'm in my little sandals doing my thing. But it was like I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like we have a good connection, like there's a good flow, good feel. And I was like, oh, like what's your dance background? All that, all that good stuff that I normally don't do because I like to figure it out on the fly. But I was like, okay, we got some West Coast swing, compatibility. That was interesting to try to like to go into it not knowing anyone at all, you know. So my mindset was more so towards let me just dance how I would dance regardless of the person. Which normally my thing is, oh, I want to dial it for, you know, like, oh, I know this person likes this, so I'm gonna play into this. Normally, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. We were one of the first couples, so it was two and two, and you know we do rock papers, and the other couple, you know, they win, and so they go first, which I was very okay with because I was like, I don't want to go first. I want to have a chance to kind of like you know settle and see. I like to respond. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm playing chess, I prefer to be the person who's responding rather than initiating. I like to counter. I wasn't nervous as much as I was trying to not get too competitive, if that makes sense. Like there was nerves, but my nerves manifest a little differently, where it's not like, you know, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. My thing is like, oh, I'm gonna crush my enemies and chew their bones, right? And I'm like, that's the reason I was like, I don't want to do any kind of competition, like any kind of dance competition at all, you know. Like when I started while I was also wrestling. So when I was competing, that was my mind. My mind was like, I'm here to destroy. Like I'm here to, you know what I mean? Like that energy was there. So when I'm dancing, I'm like, it's partnered and it's you know it's relational, it's conversational, so it's chill. And so it was interesting finding this like sort of middle ground where there's a little bit of ego, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh, you know, I just want to dance to have fun. Yeah, I want to have fun, but winning is fun too. Like I want the whatever happens, I want my best dancing to come out. I want it to be the best showing. Then if I don't win, but like my best, okay, cool. I didn't win. I wasn't, you know, that night it wasn't my night. That's okay. But what I don't want is I don't want to show up there and not have my best be represented. And I felt like Gracie and I both had a really great conversation that led to us having like a dope connection. It was a lot of fun, like to dance and for us to have like never danced before. It felt like the reads were so good. Like it felt like the energy was there. Where I mean like I have no idea, you know, what would have happened had I danced with anyone else in that final, right? But like what I will say was really cool is, you know, we won that first round. And that one like so just real quick. So first couple goes, they have their kind of like 30-second, 40-second, you know, moment. And then we go and we have our moment. And then both of us are going at the same time. The judges, you know, they gave that round to us. And then the next couple goes, kind of on that point about like not knowing like the crowd might say one thing, but the judges might say something else. Again, no shade to anybody, no shade to anybody. I was blown away by some of the stuff that they did, but I also think what the judges are looking for in terms of I think it was Jonathan and Cricket, what they did, shout out to them, was that you know some of the stuff they did. I was like, oh, that's some of the stuff they did. I was like, that's stuff that I like, right? And I think it would have been helpful to hear feedback from the judges to reinforce to people who are watching this is actually what we're looking for. Because again, it's like no shade to anybody, but like there are things that I think everyone is going to come to Fusion with something different, and they're going to come to it with different expectations. So it's important that you know, just because I liked someone's curry doesn't mean that this curry is what the judges are looking for. They're like, no, actually, you I might like more sweet, but they're like, no, we need more umami. This one had better umami, smokiness, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that would have been useful.
And congrats, you got second place. Yay. Um,
Oh, we
and
see it, we see it. Ooh, ooh.
oh, you took it home?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Shout out to Gracie.
Oh,
Gracie was like, so here, the funny thing is like, Gracie was like, you have to take it on one condition, and that's it has to show up in the podcast. So it's here. It's here in the podcast. I got you, Gracie.
oh,
Boom. If you're watching, you can see it. If you're not watching,
the
I'm
shoe.
holding roughly, say it's just like, it's like maybe like 12, something like 12 inches, maybe by five. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So
My depth perception is off, but it's
yeah.
nice. Okay, it's nice. You see that shoe, and it
So
says "greatest of all time,"
just to let you
runner
guys
up.
know, it was also handmade by someone in the community too. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
so it's not like your typical trophy. They kind of it's like chill again, it's like a chill. It's a competition, but it's chill and very like you know, mine was honestly it looked like a golden chocolate bunny. That's exactly what mine looked like. But I immediately
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
funny
yeah,
because you know, she's so sweet for letting you have that. I was like immediately so practical and I was just like, you keep it because I don't want to have to fly home with it.
yeah, yeah,
And you're
yeah,
local. And he's like, okay. And I was just like, yeah, that's fine. The thing I wish, and this is what someone else told me too, was that instead, I kind of wish the finals is more like what happened in the prelims, where you guys each got 90 seconds to shine because you can get
yeah,
the whole first verse and the whole chorus to at
Yeah.
least express the musicality and the depth of as much as you can to a song.
Mhm.
Um, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
I
And I
also
will
think,
also say, just like really quickly, I think something that's really cool that I didn't get to highlight at any point yet is that what we've been doing with FU with our practicas in terms of having like a quick moment where, we're like, okay, we're going to play a song for 90 seconds and we're going to, give feedback in real time. I think that's been such a cool idea to continue to build on and kind of prepared us in a way for, for the comp where we've been doing this for almost almost a year now actually and some change, no, a year and some change, and like during this process we've gotten to really get this sort of science down of okay, we're going to play something and then we're going to give feedback and we're looking for these 6 areas to give feedback on, like these are things that were done really really well, this is what we can work on, and being able to actually like kind of pinpoint that and then sometimes saying okay, we're going to play 30 more seconds with this feedback in mind, make the changes in real time. And I think it could have been really really cool to have some kind of like moment like that where maybe not there for the live competition, right? But
the
having that
feedback
feedback from the
session.
judges where the judges
Yeah.
could say, okay, this is what's happening here. Add this change, see what happens. I think that could
Yeah.
have been a really cool thing.
Uh, Another thing I wanted to see was, which I feel like would be kind of, I don't see more fair. It would add more logistics. Again, any new idea or concept, it's going to add more logistics to the organizers. But what I think would be, want to see, especially in the finals, is that people switch partners and everyone
Yes.
gets a
Oh my
very
gosh. Yeah, yeah,
drastically
yeah.
music genre because I feel like everyone comes from a different dance background. So it's kind of like, what if you're dancing the finals with the same songs with everyone, with the same person? Like, what if you feel like you're stuck with them, but then you want to, like it's you're getting the same ingredients to work with every time.
Mhm.
And sometimes what does it look like if you got a different ingredient,
Yeah.
a different flavor every time to
Yeah.
work with in a
Like
completely
your
different song?
musicality might be really compatible with someone else's musicality.
Hmm.
And I think it also works to showcase someone's adaptability, like someone's
Yes. Hmm.
ability to match with different partners, and kind of make the most of that, But
Exactly.
what I also say is like for the shout out to Elliot again because during the solo, like the solo comp, there's a moment like because we
Oh
didn't talk
yeah,
about the
there's a
invitational
solo
and we didn't talk
competition.
about the solo comp. The solo comp was a moment where like Elliot just shut that whole thing down. Like literally, they went
Pretty much
off,
it's
like
freestyle.
all the
It's
way
solo
off.
freestyle. In
Yeah.
case people were wondering, it is a
Hmm.
solo freestyle event, and
Yeah.
a lot
And
of
there was a
people.
lot of like, it was a lot of really good people who were out there
It was
dancing
very
and.
casual. You just first like go on the dance floor and they'll play
Mhm.
music. They play different music, and then if you get tapped by the judges, you advance to the finals. And there was like final four, and continue.
Yeah, so Final Four and like
Oh,
everyone they went out, they did their thing. They had like round one and round two, and then round three and round four and all that good stuff. But like, yeah, there was a moment. It was Elliot and Cricket, and both of them did their thing. Like literally, it was like I was like, there was a moment I was watching. I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't go out there because I almost did. I really almost did. I was like, I'm glad I sat down, like,
pretty
because
much
yeah,
when you have you ever seen those like hip hop battle
hmm
videos
like
on
Step
Red
Up or
Bull?
like
No,
Stomp the
not even
Yard or
like Red
something. Oh, you
Bull.
talking about one of the Red Bull ones?
Yeah,
Oh,
I felt like I was watching that and it was just like every single hit was so hard and so yeah. Oh, you know what's funny? I remember throwing my shoe in
yeah.
the and,
I remember at the
and
end, no, because at the end, like Elliot just went off. It
yeah,
was like,
and I threw my shoe and I was
mhm,
like, no one else is throwing their shoe. And I was like, man, I realized how many people do not
people
do hip
that they
hop then
didn't
or
know.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, and someone from LA was like, why'd you do that?
No, there were.
Granted, it almost hit her face. I felt bad
Yeah,
because
yeah,
my shoe
yeah, yeah,
almost hit her face. Luckily, it's a light
yeah.
shoe, the jazz shoe. But oh man, thank
There were
you.
like there were like three or four more shoes later.
Whoever had the red
Yeah,
sneakers that threw it in after mine, I'm like, thank you.
they were
You're
like right next to me. I saw them when they did it. So I was like,
thank you.
yeah.
And then the next round, when it was like the final and like final, people threw a bunch of their shoes in. I was like, thank you. And someone's like, you
Hmm.
started trying. I was like, that was very awkward for me. But anyway, so yeah, it was so, I felt like I was watching like a Red Bull, one of those Red Bull competitions.
Yeah.
So it was
Oh, that was so
so
fire. So
mean.
fire. So fire.
It was so fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And then I will say this really quickly for the invitational. I'm gonna just go out and say this. This is probably gonna sound spicy, but I'm okay with it. When I saw that,
oh,
I was like,
you have to explain
I
invitationals.
will, I
Yeah.
will, I will. I got you, I got you. I was like, bro, I don't care about this. I want to dance. Like the invitational. It was actually I think the judges who judged the sunshine and the vets roulette, and it was a panel of I believe 8 judges or so, and so they were invited to also to compete after. So after that, they had the judges do like an open round where they were dancing to everyone's kind of dancing at the same time. They're out there showing what they got, and then they had the couples pair off. So they had two dance together, two dance together, two dance together, two dance together, right? And they kept the same partner, but they danced to two different songs. So you got to see a little bit of that range, right? Um, and again, when I saw that, I was like I saw it on the schedule. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm probably going to take a break. I'm probably going to go out somewhere, get some water, get some air, not knowing that I would be in the vets final. So after that, I was like, man, my adrenaline had spiked. We danced our hearts out. We're like, oh my gosh, it was a moment. I'm like, bro, I'm good. I could go take a nap or like go get some food down the street. Like I'm like, I don't care. Frankly, this is just honest thoughts. I understand now why they did it. Like having watched it, I was like, okay, I see the vision. Like, and like shout out to the couples who did their thing in the invitational. And it's shout out to Jeannie as well because like I feel like sometimes you like being in LA, being somewhere you see people, you're just like, oh, that's so and so, that's such and such, right? But seeing Jeannie on that level on that stage, just like do her thing, was literally like I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like it's like casually, you're just at Trader Joe's and you're just like talking to a person next to you and everything is like cool. And then someone's like, that was Ronaldo, right? And you're like, wait, what? You know what I mean? It's like you don't always realize just like the level of talent that's there. And I just want to also give Jeannie her flowers. Um, but but yeah, like the couples, they all did their thing. And then I'll say this, the last couple in particular shut it down. They went so the first dance was super good, right? First dance was super good, and it was one of those moments of
I
like,
feel like
okay,
really quickly, the last
mhm.
couple was the couple that won the People's Choice Awards and the Judges' Choice Awards.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think that's the best way to put it. Like there was so much that was done, and I loved the crispness. I loved the combination of fluidity and sharp staccato hard hits. It gave me this like idea of blending both ballet and hip hop, and you saw that like I think at the highest level, and so at the very end, everybody is just like everyone's losing it, and shoes start flying. I threw my shoe in, and like I think at that point, because of the trend that you started, Trey, because you're a trailblazer, right? Folks were like, "Oh, we gotta do the shoe thing." So there were so many shoes.
Someone
There's
threw in a
just this
pillow too, I
flood
think.
of shoes. Yeah, I think somebody did throw a pillow. Like folks were going crazy. I think that there was the moment that I said, yeah, this whole weekend, it makes sense. Like this was the bow, I think, that tied everything together. And especially coming from people who were there when Fusion, was when the groundwork for Fusion was being laid, right? These are people who've been part of the community for decades, who have been teaching and traveling and sharing and growing and building community. So to give them a moment where they could showcase what Fusion could be was like just you're blazing the trail for the next generation of superstars, but it was like seeing the greats perform at a high level. So all the kids who are like, kind of coming up in their little pee-wee soccer leagues are like, that's what I want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
I think
me. I'm like,
that's why I
I'm
wish
gonna be
more
that one day.
that's why I wish more LA people would travel because
Yeah.
on that was that moment, not even moment, that session, the invitational
Hmm.
with all the teachers and stuff. They they it's kind of like when you're inspired, something else activates or it makes a part of your brain go like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I never
Hmm.
thought about moving in that texture or doing
Yeah.
this and whatnot, because that's where we get stagnant, right? Oh, this is something fresh and new that I can add to my repertoire.
Yeah.
And even someone in LA was saying, like, seemed to like be like, oh man, I want to do tango now, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
brush up. And it's like, not gonna lie, I was like, this is what we've been trying to tell you for a
Yeah.
long time. But sometimes people need to experience this in order to be like, oh, I want to. It has to come from within, right? So something
Yeah.
unlocks from within to be like, okay, cool. You know what? I wanna actually start taking classes to get to that place.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
it's like when you eat your everyone says like, okay, eat your veggies because it's healthy for you. But then when you see someone, I don't know, an athlete do something amazing and inspiring, you're like, you know what? I kind of I want to do that.
It's
What
like
are
All
they?
Might eats his veggies. I'm gonna eat my veggies too. It's like that's right, Deku. You eat your veggies. That's right. But I
That's
also
weird.
say like no, like just on top of that, like I think that was such a good pin. I think for the weekend, that was it felt like everything there was a combination of creative inspiration and like we're actually here to have like a party. Like it felt like it had a party feel to it that it's like we're gonna dress up in suits, but we're also gonna like we're gonna ruin these suits. Like we're here to get down too, you know. Genuinely felt like it was something that Fusion needed, and I'm so excited to see what the next iteration of that looks like. Like, oh, what's next year gonna look like? You know,
Yeah.
what
Hmm.
happens when when there's more LA representation, right? Like what happens when there's more East Coast, like when East Coast folks are like, you know what, we're gonna make the trip out, you know,
Hmm.
and just that sort. I'm so excited to see how many more people decide. You know what, I want to do the fusion comp. I was a little nervous about this idea of a comp, but you know what, I'm gonna step outside of myself a little bit and
Y'all do
see
the comp to
what
get
can
the feedback
happen.
session. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta
for
say.
real.
For real.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Um, okay, with that, if you enjoyed this extra long episode, please share it with a friend and give us a follow and a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify. You can check us out on social media at Fusion Dance Podcasts and check out our dance school at Fusion University. Please leave a comment as well. I know you guys are listening in. So, yeah, check out our upcoming classes, practicas, and social events by making sure to sign up for our email newsletter below or follow us on social media. And we'll include all that down below in our show notes. Thank you for being here with us, and we will see you next time.